Hi everybody, me again, Mr. McNichol. Hope everyone's doing great. Well, thanks everybody for a great class on Monday night. I have been so impressed with this group. Everybody's coming in early before. I don't have a third of my class late every night, and that just makes me so happy. Almost everybody was there. I get it, those of you who have difficulties with work, childcare, whatever, keep talking to me. We'll keep working things out if we have to, okay? So there's that. Also, I had some folks who were concerned, Mr. McNichol, why do I still have an F in your class when I've turned things in? I did good on the quizzes. What's going on? Thanks to some folks asking me for assistance to check out a few bits. Well, guess what? It turned out that when Canvas put our class and my high school class together, they not only put the students in the same place, but they put all of the assignments from high school with you guys as well. So that was why it graded you all ahead of time, which it shouldn't have done, with zeros in the high school assignments. So I went through, I have weeded out, I'm pretty sure, all of those bad assignments. I noticed a number of people's grades went right up, bing, from F's to A's when I did that. If you're still having difficulty and you don't know why, come talk to me, email me, we'll see what we can do. Okay, sound good? So that's number one. Number two, if you look at my announcement dated September 11th, I had 4 things that were due over the next couple of days, and they're all relatively small. The one we didn't get to in class was the M5 in-class activity. It was called a Coherence worksheet. Now we're going to do that this coming Monday. It will be due this coming Monday, September 18th at midnight. Okay, so we'll get it done in class if all goes well. I'll try and bring more copies if folks need it, but you try to bring them too. We'll snappy and we'll upload them from class if all goes well. Another thing, and I'm going to put an announcement about this too, another thing to be aware of, coming down the pipe, Monday at midnight, your Coherence worksheet will be due. Tuesday at midnight, the M5 discussion on body paragraphs will be due. Tell me a little bit. Did you learn anything new about body paragraphs? I didn't learn anything. Good, fine. Tell me that. Tell me what you didn't learn. Or if you did learn something, tell me about that too. I thought this was awesome. Fantastic. Okay? Because when I read your comments, I won't get offended even if you think it's completely, I didn't put this whole thing together. Other people did, so don't worry about it. Anyways, it helps me know what to do for next time, how to make things better, and so forth. Okay, so lay it on me. If it's great, good, I'll be happy. If there's ways to improve it, great. Tell me that, I'll be happy as well. Okay? So that's the M5 discussion, which is due Tuesday, the 19th of September. So, first thing coming down the pipe, aside of the other stuff that's on the September 11th announcement. You've got Monday midnight, okay? Monday, the 18th of September, the Coherence worksheet. We'll do that in class. Tuesday, the 19th, okay, at midnight. Put some stuff in the M5 discussion on body paragraphs, okay? Now, Wednesday, there's another quiz that's going to be due, okay? And it's going to be about what I'm going to talk about today, which is plagiarism. Don't we love talking about plagiarism? No, we don't. We've probably already heard this many times, but just to be safe, let's make sure that we've got everything we need to have here, okay? So, we're going to be taking a look at plagiarism. Okay. So the lesson on plagiarism, fairly simple, okay? We're going to have no real difficulties with this whatsoever, okay? But still, I'm going to go over it. Now it's also available, okay? It's dated 9/14/22. I'll put a link to it to make sure that everything goes well, okay? Now, plagiarism and academic honesty is how, it's mainly a slideshow that I'm going to be reading from here, okay? But, first off, what is plagiarism? Well, plagiarism is using someone's intellectual property without permission. Now, this can include ideas. Now, if I just write a Spider-Man story, okay? Spider-Man is an intellectual property, okay? Guy named Stan Lee put the idea together, made the costume and all that back in the 60s. But if I write a Spider-Man story, am I going to get in trouble? No, of course not. If I write a Spider-Man story, they call that fan fiction, put it up on the internet. Am I going to get in trouble? No. But if I write a Spider-Man story and I start charging people to read it and I make money off of it, am I in trouble then? Yes, I am. Okay? Because Stan Lee and Marvel Comics own the intellectual property of Spider-Man. Okay? And they can charge whatever they want. So that's why if I take part of a movie from Spider-Man, one of the Spider-Man movies or something like that, put it up as my own thing and make money off of it on a YouTube video, I'm in trouble because that is plagiarism. Now, here at the academic level, plagiarism, well, basically when I'm doing the Spider-Man thing, I'm violating what's called copyright law. That's illegal. But plagiarism usually here means what? Going to the internet or going to ChatGPT, getting one of these sources to create, or taking one of these sources and passing it off as my own in a paper or someplace else when I haven't made it on my own. I'm taking somebody else's stuff, saying I created it, and getting grades or money from it. Pretty straightforward. Well, what are the consequences for that? Well, at TCC, automatically, if I, as your teacher, catch you or any other teacher here catches an example of plagiarism, first thing, it's a score of 0 on the assignment. That's just the first thing that happens, okay? Now, there's all kinds of other things that happen after that. There's going to the dean, there's going to an academic honesty council. Take a look at your TCC handbook to see all the hoops you're going to have to jump through if you're busted for plagiarism. It's way better. Make your own work, okay? Well, what does plagiarism and or academic dishonesty look like? Well, there's different kinds of plagiarism. First kind of plagiarism, it's called direct plagiarism, okay? You copy most or all of the work from another source without acknowledging the source. I had a case in university where one bright bulb not only took a paper, okay, and submitted it twice for 2 different courses, that's plagiarism too. He actually took stuff from a professor's book that he'd written and submitted it in a paper to that professor. Okay? What? Yeah. The student stole the professor's work and submitted it to the professor as his own. Real bright. Don't do that. Okay? So an example of direct plagiarism, okay, again, on the slide shows, if you take a look at slide 9, okay, a careful examination, says the student writing sample, in the ways in which domesticated animals have diverged from their wild ancestors shows that cows, pigs, and sheep became smaller under domestication, while guinea pigs became larger. Well, they took that from the original source. The ways in which domesticated animals diverged from their wild ancestors, direct lifting of a sentence. Okay. Cows, pigs, and sheep became smaller under domestication, while guinea pigs became larger. Another direct sentence. That's plagiarism. That gets you a 0, even if I find it in one paragraph in a 20-page paper. Don't do it, okay? Now, there's another kind of plagiarism called mosaic plagiarism. One young man, during the pandemic, I basically saw he turned in a piece of work on Google Classroom that was at a much higher reading level than I was used to. Just to be safe, I took a sentence from the work, put quotes around it, and put it on DuckDuckGo. Boom! Found his work. Okay, it was a question sheet. It wasn't a big thing. And it was the pandemic. We were given a lot of latitude. This is a high school student. I told him, here you go. I caught this. Here's the website I found it. Go back. Do your own work. His idea of doing his own work was going to 4 or 5 different websites and putting all that together and then resubmitting it. Okay, you know what? I tell my students, I'm busy. I'm not stupid. Okay? And I saw, wait a second, these are several different sentences that are at different levels, and they're all higher than I'm used to seeing from you. And so I did my detective work and sent him it back with a 0 and a message to mom and dad saying, I found your kid's work on these 5 different websites. That is mosaic plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism. Direct plagiarism, I grab sentences from one work. A mosaic, for those of you who do art, a mosaic is a piece of art that's made from lots of little pieces, usually pieces of colored glass. Mosaic plagiarism, you've got borrowing phrases from someone else's work, using quotation marks, or using synonyms but keeping the same structure. Okay? So, if you use a bunch of pieces and just change every third word, that's still plagiarism. Okay? I've caught students doing that too. Okay? Collusion or unauthorized aid. Okay? Well, that's a third kind of plagiarism. Remember, there's direct plagiarism, where I take a whole thing, mosaic plagiarism, where I'll take several parts, or I'll take one part and change every third word. The third kind is called collusion or unauthorized aid, and in that, well, if you give your work to someone and they turn part or all of it in as their own, you're both in trouble. Okay? I had a case where two students were working together. One student says to the other student, hey, this is here at TCC, hey, I'd like to see your paper because you've gotten A's with Mr. McNichol and I haven't. I want to see what an A paper looks like. But he says, sure, I'll email you my paper. Well, the first guy, his idea of making the paper his own is removing one period and then submitting it to me. Dude, what happened? I talked to both. Okay? I see timestamps. This first guy copied this second guy's paper. Okay? And unfortunately, that paper was either a midterm or the final. So yeah, it was not good. Okay? Not a good thing. Okay? So, now, collusion can take another form. Let's say Matt and Jeremy decide to work together on an assignment. Well, Matt compiles research notes. Jeremy identifies the main findings, and they both write their individual original research papers. Not a huge problem. But Matt doesn't finish his homework. So he borrows Jeremy's in order to copy some or all of the answers. Okay? If he ends up copying any of the answers of Jeremy, that is collusion. I had another case when I didn't catch this person, it was someone else, another colleague caught this. Okay. One poor guy got the flu when the big paper was due, and his girlfriend wrote the paper for him. Short version, they got caught, and both got zeros, okay, on their respective papers. Self-plagiarism, okay? Well, if you take a paper that you have submitted to another class, hey, I got an A on this paper on Napoleon. Great. I'll submit it to this teacher too. A for A. No, can't do that. You may or may not realize this, but most teachers use turnitin.com, and it's got about a 20-year memory right now, okay? Literally, I have had student in one memorable case, take their dad's paper, okay, from grad school and try and submit it as their own. Oops, the dad's paper was on turnitin.com. I'm really glad I didn't have to be present for that discussion that dad had with that student. Please don't reuse, don't resubmit old papers. That's plagiarism as well. Okay? So, real world examples. Okay? Well, you had a pastor who was busted when he found out that he plagiarized 140 video sermons. Okay? Oops, that was dated 6/28/21. A Minnesota principal was suspended for plagiarizing a Tennessee principal's email. 6/21/21. Yeah, that happens. Okay? German Green Party leader, he faced plagiarism allegations. What? All kinds of things. The USC president, University of South Carolina, resigned after a plagiarism incident in his commencement speech. Okay? Presidents of universities lose their jobs over plagiarism. That happened in 2021. Okay? So, depending on what college you're in, for example, if you're at the U.S. Air Force Academy, boom, you're automatically expelled. Okay? At law school, expelled. UCal, Berkeley, okay? Zeros and your semester grades are reduced. Okay? Scholastic dishonesty. Well, statement on scholastic dishonesty at Tarrant County College, it's unacceptable and it's not tolerated. If you're a party to scholastic dishonesty, i.e. plagiarism, as defined below, you'll be disciplined, as described in the document. Okay? Plagiarism is defined as presenting as one's own the ideas or writings of another without acknowledging or documenting the sources. We're going to learn how to do that properly, so don't panic, okay? If you copy a word or words directly from a book, a magazine, or a newspaper, electronic source, etc., without using quotes and proper referencing, okay, that's plagiarism. Okay? Summarize or paraphrase ideas or opinions of an author, or use data collected by an author without citing the author as the source. Okay? There have been cases of university professors who really like the research their students did, and they try to pass off the students' research as their own. Guess what happened? Students take issue to this, university professor loses their job. Okay? Submitting papers or projects which do not reflect your own knowledge, voice, and style. Okay? You can, and it could be because you or your chat GPT decided to write it. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? There's other information on the particular pieces as well. There's other information rather on the thing we're looking at. So please, okay, I don't want to go on too long with this. Okay? There's more details on the the slideshow, which is on the lesson as well for this on plagiarism. Okay. Minimal, you'll get a grade of 0. You'll be busted for whether it's cheating, plagiarism, or collusion. Okay. If it's repeated, okay, you may be referred to the Dean of Student Development and Educational Services. Okay. You could be subject to disciplinary review and what's called disciplinary procedure. The college may initiate disciplinary proceedings against a student accused of scholastic dishonesty, and it includes, but it is not limited to, plagiarism, collusion, or, of course, cheating on a test. Okay, that's all I basically got for this week. It was on plagiarism, so please, don't plagiarize. I think I've given you quite a bit of stuff on that, and I'm going to see you guys on Monday. Remember, I'll put on the thing you've got on Monday night, the Coherence worksheet, which we'll do in class. That's going to be due on midnight. Okay? On Tuesday night, you're going to be, the 19th, you're going to be expected to put some stuff in for the M5 discussion on body paragraphs. Typey, 5 easy points. Okay? And then, after watching this, next Wednesday, by a week from today, you will need to complete the plagiarism quiz. You also will be able to look at the slideshow. Okay? I'll put a link to that over on the announcements. Okay? All right, folks, thanks so much. Always a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Take care and have a great night. Bye-bye.